Shorty, come talk to me. 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 Hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you. How you doing? I was thinking brunch, maybe pizza. I'm just tryna kick it like FIFA. Elevate your mental on another level. Fly you to the end of the earth. Your ex-guy never knew where you were.
What it do? It's your girl L.
It's your boy Drew.
We are back with another
Back in reaction. Y'all know how we do when we come down ripping that H-Town. Know what I'm talking about?
Straight up.
Real talk.
Alright, so today we're gonna talk about the election. We're gonna be reacting to Meet Kevin, one of my favorite YouTubers, because he keeps me on point with anything stimulus, anything election, anything government, stocks. He keeps me up to par where I need to be, and he explains it so good. So we're gonna react to his video, Trump Calls Victory, Contested Election, Stocks and Stimulus. Y'all, so as we said before, Trump was going to announce that he won, even though he doesn't know if he won or not, because the election is technically how it usually goes is we find out the day of the election day.
Yeah.
We can't do that this year because the ballots have changed. Things have changed. The way people are sending them in. We got COVID-19. So all of that is affected this year. And he is going to use that to his advantage or disadvantage and try to contest the election and say that he got cheated. So we're going to get into this reaction. Before we do that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
That's very important.
Tap the notification bell, send everybody our way.
Tell them we the next up because we the best up.
That's on END.
And them big facts.
Alright, so let's get into it. Hold on.
When Meet Kevin here, the contested election is essentially here. Despite all evidence indicating that a contested election was not very likely, we are looking at the unlikely scenario of a contested election. In fact, what we're going to do in this video is take a look at what Donald Trump just said, and then we're going to talk about the impact of this, what this means, especially to stocks and stimulus. Let's get right into the Donald Trump clip, so let's go ahead and pull that up, and let's get over and on into this. Just make sure to get 3 free stocks with Webull, which you can sign up for in as little as 5 minutes via the link down below. And you'll need life insurance for this one, so get that in as little as 5 minutes as well.
See, this is why I like Kevin, because he be organized. He come with it. He got a nice little background. My boy be dressed. Yeah. And he come with the facts. The facts.
He do
down below. Here we go for Donald Trump.
Because you know what happened? They knew they couldn't win. So they said, let's go to court. And did I predict this, Newt? Did I say this? I've been saying this from the day I heard they were going to send out tens of millions of ballots. I said exactly, because either they were going to win, or if they didn't win, they'll take us to court. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country.
Y'all, it's so crazy because how can you even have these numbers and think that you're on top right now, and it keeps changing? They keep updating the count. The view count keeps changing. So it's just like we playing 1v1 and I'm up 2. So I think I won the game.
Yeah.
You still got to play the whole game.
Man, I just feel like a lot of this stuff be rigged. And at the end of the day, people, like I say, people always talking about trying to throw out their race car, or Biden races, Trump races. I don't trust now one of them. At the end of the day, I just don't want Trump in office because he's a smart businessman. But the main thing is he let this corona slip into the U.S. and he knew about it, and it done killed millions and thousands of people, and then people still want to vote for him.
Now, quick note, I'm not playing all of the other information where he talks about how far ahead he is in Pennsylvania and Florida and Texas and some of the other states. And in fairness to him, accurately, at the time that he gave this discussion or this sort of press conference, he was accurately that far ahead. But we're going to talk about the issue as to what's going on in just a moment and then the impact of it. Let's just finish here and see what Donald Trump says about a victory or waiting.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
How did you win and all the votes ain't been counted? Houston, Texas itself is still bringing in ballots to be counted from yesterday.
Yeah.
How? Sir, there is COVID. Not everybody wants to go out there with no mask on or just expose themselves to all these people at Lord knows, like nobody wants to do that.
That he allowed to happen. He allowed
So,
COVID to happen like this.
So everybody that was sending in their ballots, there's nothing wrong with what you did. Like, you guys can protect yourselves. A lot of people don't have a way to get up there, and there were actually transportation companies just reaching out and saying, hey, we can help you get to, you know, the sites. But in Houston, they shut down the drive-thrus. And Trump tried to get, I already told you guys this, he tried to get over 100K, like 127K votes thrown out from Texas.
Wow.
From going to the drive-through polls.
But why is that when we are a Republican state? So what is he
what
worried
was you
about?
scared about?
What are you scared about?
Right. He thought he was going to lose Texas. But I knew he was going to win Texas because our governor is one of his faves. He likes Governor Abbott.
And plus, we're a Republican state. I feel like if you're a Republican, of course, you should get those states. Like,
right. So that's crazy.
So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay? It's a very sad...
See how they're saying race called? It has not been called, y'all. And when you go on Instagram and on Facebook, it says that there has not been a winner chosen. No winner will be chosen until all ballots are counted. Period. So he's literally going against the United States of America right now. That's crazy.
But America is great, and all it is. They be saying all this good stuff about America, bro. But you not living by it though. That's what's funny to me.
You have to follow the rules.
You not living by what you say. So
there is no rule that the winner has to be chosen on election day. There's no rule. So if there's no rule and we have COVID-19 and we have the absentee ballots where we could send in ballots to people's house and they can mail them back by a certain time and they have to be postmarked by a certain day, then you just have to wait and see. You can't call the race. What?
It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won. So I just want to thank you.
Okay, so that's Donald Trump. You heard him basically calling what's happening now, the contested election, a fraud, willing to take this fight to the Supreme Court, which they'll have to find an avenue to get there. It's not as easy as showing up at the Supreme Court, of course, but also essentially declaring victory at this point in time. Now, obviously, we know the election is not over. Biden and Democrats still believe they can win once the vote by mail ballots come in. And so here's basically a quick background on what's going on, and then let's talk stocks and let's talk stimulus. So
I honestly think Biden is really going to win when the mail-in ballots come.
I would hope so, man. It's just they making it so hard for like people to like really vote, man. Like,
but the fact that if you have ballots coming in and they have the ballots and they ready to count them up.
And last time when we watched the first debate, he gonna talk about should just throw them away. Like, like, bro, like what you got going on?
And that's another reason why, because like I said, Abbott is one of Trump's favorite governors.
Yeah.
So he made sure that he took away a lot of ballot drop-off locations. He took away a lot of them so that it would be harder to get to them.
So what is that called? You don't think that's crooked?
To me, that's fraud.
That's fraud.
That's fraud.
Yeah,
you causing us to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah. That's
not fair. Sorry if y'all hear them blowing the leaves outside.
Basically, when people mail in a ballot with their vote and it gets postmarked, that is the post office got it, they put a little stamp on it, it was processed. Okay, great, now it's going to go into transit. Well, then it's postmarked. Well, those ballots tend to skew towards Democrats. That is, Democrats tend to be more likely to mail them in. Around 53% of the time, you get Democrat voters with these mail-in ballots. Now, on the flip side, when you look at in-person voting, you get around 60% of people in person voting for Trump or Republicans. And this is a problem because it means you really have more Republican votes being represented at the time of Donald Trump's press conference at the White House in the East Wing. But you don't yet have all the mail-in ballots in because you've got some states that have basically been hoarding these mail-in ballots for weeks, and they refuse to count them until today, Election Day. Well, I guess...
Now that's crazy. I wouldn't want to work as a ballot counter. I definitely would want to do that. I would be so confused. Like, my brain would just be so fried.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you... I wouldn't... Well, I mean, I guess technically they can't count them. Well, no, not necessarily, because if it's we had early voting, so if they were able to count the early votes, then they should have counted the early ballots.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the most anxiety-driven election I've ever paid attention to.
It makes me upset, y'all, because like they just doing so much. You see like which way they trying to like go like with it, like, but they preach all this about America being great and all of that, but they not living like that. They not going by what they say, man.
Yesterday was Election Day, given that I'm recording this in the AM hours here on November 4th already. The sun's going to come up very soon here. This has been pretty intense. But anyway, specifically, states like Pennsylvania, they did not start counting ballots until today, while Florida has already been counting ballots for 2 weeks, and that's why they're already over 95% reported. So this puts us in a place where we could be waiting for 2 to 3 days for states like Pennsylvania and Michigan to report all of the remaining ballots that they have. But Donald Trump has now declared that it would be fraudulent to essentially continue to count these ballots. And now there's a difference here, right?
I just want y'all to count the ballots. Count the dang ballots. Count them and take your time. I don't care. I honestly felt like, I thought it was going to be like 2 weeks before we got the answer. Mm-hmm. But they saying in a couple of days, so hopefully by the end of this week, y'all, we can find out, who won. Shout out to everybody that just got out there and voted.
Yeah, real talk.
Shout out. Your voice was heard, and we need a change, and we need it now. So, shout out to y'all.
There's voting, and then there's counting votes that have already been cast. So it's kind of like, okay, like, do we keep counting votes as long as they were postmarked by the 3rd? I don't know. This is now where the Supreme Court might end up having to get involved in this. And remember, the Supreme Court is 6-3 in favor of Republicans. Now, Donald Trump also publicly said that he would not declare victory, that he would let, the experts call the election. But privately, he told colleagues that if he was close, he would come out and declare victory. Well, folks, you just saw him declare victory. Mike Pence came up afterwards and tried to backpedal a little bit and say that we're on the road to victory. That's what Mike Pence said about the Trump, election here, the re-election campaign. But the reality is, this really creates issues now. Now we're in a place of, okay, now we're going down contested election road and lawsuit road and... when will this end? Is this going to end by Friday? Will it end by next week? Is it going to end by January? But
I don't know. Like, it's hard to call it. Like, I feel like if he goes down that road, which I think he will, because he's just crooked and he just likes to just cause a hoopla and chaos out of any situation when you clearly know the rules. Like, there is no telling how long this is going to go. But for Mike Pence, I honestly feel like if Trump would have said something like what Mike Pence said, like, okay, we're getting close. Hopefully we win. You know what I mean? Like, if you would have said something like that, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But you said, technically, we already won. So...
I'm so mad because I don't understand why are y'all even, the people that are even voting for Trump? I don't really care what y'all think. Why y'all even voting for him when he let all of this happen, the coronavirus? Now if that would have been Obama, y'all would have got him impeached and all that, and just would have just been going ham, bro. Like y'all just sick, man. Just y'all sick, bro.
It'll be interesting now. And so let's now talk about some reactions that we've got going on. Let's talk about stocks, and let's talk about stimulus and some short-term things that we know. Ordinarily, for stocks, we think that a contested election is bad. But the stock market is actually rallying in pre-market hours right now, which, remember, you can get Webull, and you can get these pre-market hours as well. Let's go ahead and pull it up right now. So you can see here it's 1:48 a.m. on November 4th in California. And here are your pre-market trades. A lot of the market, I mean almost the entire market is green. The only thing that's really slapped here is end phase. And what you've really got here is this shift to the market going, oh my gosh, we could actually have a Trump election. See, the market was pricing in a Biden victory. But we actually got some insane numbers from the Trump campaign. I mean, the fact that Texas was so heavy for Trump, which Biden almost flipped in the initial readings. They sort of call that the Biden mirage or the Trump mirage. When you get...
See, that's why you got to get into all this so you understand how they relate. Because... honestly, I feel like if Trump wins, the stock should go down, but it don't work like that because technically America is for Trump, or he wouldn't have been elected president the first time. So that's so crazy.
I just feel like a lot of people, like the rich people, are for Trump. That's just how I feel. Like people
who it don't really affect.
Yeah, as long as they get what they want, they don't care about nothing. They don't care about if people getting treated the same or mistreated. They don't care about that. All they care about is their pockets and whatever benefits them. Like that's exactly why I don't support Trump. I don't support that.
This initial wave going one way or another. But yeah, Trump held Texas and Florida, and he's doing very well in states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and some of these other important ones. So these are things we got to pay attention to. But the market's like basically going, oh my gosh, Trump could actually win, which means there's actually a chance we won't see corporate tax rates go up from 21% where they are now to 28%. In fact, Trump might cut them. A few months ago, he said corporate tax rates might go down to 15%.
And he's saying that, but I think he's just using that as like a bargain tactic to get people to vote for him. A lot of the things that he promised did not come to pass.
Just like every other president before him. They all tell you what you want to hear
in the beginning.
Just so you can get the vote for them. And then when they get in the office, they be like, well, I tried this, but I was outvoted by, you know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Because things have to get approved. Things have to go through the House. They got to go through the Senate. They got to get through Democrats and Republicans. They got to get voted on. Bills got to get passed. Like, it's really not just as simple as, I want this. This is how I go. I think that's what a lot of people think presidency is.
I just feel like, what's the point of being president if you have to go against some other people that's denying your votes?
Well, honestly, if you don't make sense, if you're a president and something you decide don't make sense, I feel like other people should be able to say no.
I mean, I understand that, but I'm pretty sure some of them have made sense, and just some people just, if it doesn't fit them, they gonna go against it. Like, nah.
But that's why you have executive orders. Sometimes, like how Trump called the executive order to extend unemployment. And I think it was some other things that he extended too, with the executive order, but that was because they couldn't come to terms and vote and get a bill passed, so he just did the executive order. But that only lasted for a month.
Yeah.
So we still without a stimulus
I just feel like, look, everybody just need to be their own boss, like to make things easy for y'all. That way you ain't got to depend on the government, man.
Yeah.
Well, and as recently as about 4 weeks ago, he said he'd consider reducing corporate tax rates to 20%. Down, just 1 percentage point. But anyway, look at the market. I mean, it's very, very, very green. And these are all of the stocks that we generally talk about, whether it's in my courses or here on the channel. The only one that's really suffering here is
Perry builds a really good home and they stand behind it.
The house is very efficient. I like it.
Here is Enphase in the pre-market hours. That's potentially because, Enphase, I think, was a big recipient of, stimulus. So on stimulus, well, this is actually interesting. See, a contested election is very bad for stimulus. It means we don't have answers, right? And we want answers. Every day that we're clueless about what the result of the election is going to be is not only a day that we're clueless, but it's also a day that we're not negotiating a stimulus deal during the lame duck session. So in other words, we are literally now in this weird holding pattern where, once again, the regular people of America get screwed into having to wait for stimulus, but the stock market is soaring on the potential that Trump might actually get reelected here.
And that's crazy because all that goes into play when they think about stimulus. They want to see how the economy is doing. So if the economy is going up as far as stocks is concerned, that's going to be a factor as far as what they want to pass. Which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that because it's going up because they think Trump is going to win. Like, y'all, this is the most I have ever gotten into politics because I've never seen so many injustices happen at one time, and I've never seen someone who has a big leadership role condone the bad things that are I've never seen it until now. So it makes you want to know what your country is doing, who these people are that are representing you. It's just like if you have a lawyer, you want to know what your lawyer is going to say when they go up to the judge, right?
Yeah.
You're not just going to pay your thousands of dollars and then they go up there and then they just get you screwed and then you have to do time. That's not the point. You know what I mean? So you got to do your research.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't take politics serious neither.
Well, you have to take it serious because you have to know what's going on.
Yeah, but I'm saying far as like, look what's going on. Like all this injustices and all that, and he ain't been talking about none of that. Like, bro, come on, man, stop it.
No,
That
he's
pisses
been
you
talking.
off.
He's been talking about it.
But he downplays it.
He's been talking about it. He's been condoning it. Like I just said, he condones, and when condones means you basically support. You support, and you're gonna allow it to happen. So if he is gonna allow this stuff to happen, it's not gonna get any better for the next 4 years.
Inequality. He's sick.
So, and that was a surprise to the stock market because here we go again. Almost all of the polls were saying Biden's going to win, that there's only a 10% chance that Trump's going to win. You look at the betting odds, and the betting odds were like 33% Trump and like 67% Biden. Like, it was supposed to be a Biden win here.
Yeah.
Now, it could still be, depending on how these vote-by-mail ballots come in.
Yeah.
But, folks, wow, the market is reacting very excitedly about this. Good news for the market. Not good if you were looking for a buying opportunity in the market. Bad news for stimulus. Let's see it.
Well, that's the end of that video. So, guys, you just gotta pray. And the reason why we are reacting to stuff like this is because this is a serious thing and we can't act like it's not important. And I know some of you guys are really young and you need to be taught these things and really explain what this stuff means. So I really hope that all goes well for our country.
Yeah.
I know it's about to get really, really serious, and I hope everybody is safe, be smart, and don't fill your heart with hatred for people who may not vote for you.
Yeah.
Not for you, but for who you wanted to vote for.
Yeah.
If they choose to vote for Trump, you know what I mean, just charge it to their head, not their heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They may have specific reasons. We may have very, very specific reasons, and we may feel like we're right, and a lot of us are right, but at the end of the day, we're still humans, and we're still supposed to have our own opinions, and we have a right to that. So just respect everybody. Try not to be, disrespectful towards people who don't agree with you. That's all I'm saying. But thank y'all for your support. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
That's very important.
Tap that notification bell. Send everybody our way.
Tell them we the next time because we the best
up. And that's on END.
And them big facts.
All right, so until next time. Peace.
Love don't cost a thing. You just what I need. Can I be the air you breathe? You everything and in between. Let's take a ride through the night.
Pop champagne if you like. Finest thing that I seen in sight. And I ain't going out without a fight, no.